Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of the outdoor shower series. If you missed parts 1 and 2, I'm going to put links in the description below. Go check those out. It'll bring you up to speed of where we are today, which is going to be installing the concrete pad underneath the shower enclosure area. Now, if you watch part 2, I mentioned that I was going to be installing some type of system under here to gather the water from the deck area where the shower is going to be located and direct that towards the drain and out to the dry well. That's what I'm going to be doing in this video here today. And shortly into the start of this project, here's our first obstacle, and it's a very large root that is from some bushes that I ripped out of this area prior to installing the posts. So I got to get that out of the way, and the main thing I'm doing here to start is just grading down the area, and that's to prep it for the forms that I'm going to be installing later on in the video. So a little disclaimer here, guys. I am by no means an expert on doing concrete work in any way, shape, or form. I think that's going to be pretty evident on the way that I install this slab. But I think an important thing to consider here is the fact that, first off, this slab is never going to see any foot traffic. Okay, it's also never going to even be seen. It's going to be buried underneath the deck. There's going to be lattice skirting that runs around the perimeter of the deck. No one's ever going to see it. Its sole purpose is to catch the water that falls between the deck boards and direct it down towards the drain. That's it. So if I get some cracks in it, if let's say a corner of it breaks off over time, it's not the end of the world. I'm still probably going to collect 80% of that water, let's say, and send it down the drain. So here I'm just leveling out the drain basin and checking it from several different angles. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be close. Alright, so over into the shop, I'm just slicing up some pieces of wood here. These are going to make up the forms for the concrete pour. Side note, I hope to have a video out soon of my miter saw station, which you see me using here. This thing has been absolutely awesome. It is by far one of the best things I've ever built. I use it almost every day. As you can see, I got a stop block system incorporated on it. That is great for repetitive cuts. Here I happen to be slicing up some smaller pieces of wood. These are going to be for stakes that I use around the outside of the form to hold it in place. And this is a real great project to do for your garage or your shop. Makes using your miter saw so much more easier and enjoyable, having everything set up in a dedicated area for cutting up your stock. After cutting up the forms, I realized that I needed to notch a few of them, and the reason for that is that they have to go around the concrete pour for the posts that are going to make up the shower enclosure. Now with these forms, you probably saw me do it a couple seconds ago. I checked the level from the top edge of the form down to the drain. The reason I did that is I want a slight pitch from the upper corner of where the slab's going to be down towards that drain so the water can naturally flow into the basin. And while you guys are watching me install these forms, why don't you take a quick second, if you haven't already, and subscribe to my channel. Also hit that notification bell so you never miss when I post a new video. And if you're finding this video useful, give that like button a tap. It goes a long way to helping my channel, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. So pretty self-explanatory here. Just take your time, make sure you set these forms level. If you do a good job in setting the first one level, essentially everything works off of that one. Because here I'm spanning across both pieces now, setting the height of the outer edge. And once I get it where I need it, I'm just driving some screws through the form and into the bottom of the post to hold it in place. Now if you set the first two correctly, this last one here we're putting in, we're essentially just connecting the dots. You want to set the height of this one to match the two that we installed earlier. The fourth side of the forms here, which is opposite of this side, is up against the foundation of the house. And we obviously don't need a piece of wood on that side. The foundation will form the slab on that end. So here's the stakes that we cut the size earlier. I'm just going to be driving several of these in around the perimeter of the form to hold everything in place. Just one item of note, keep in mind what might be in the ground underneath this area that you're working in. I got very lucky here. You're going to see shortly, I almost speared the drainage line that I ran in part 2 of this video series. The line that runs from the basin out to the drywall. I missed it by like a fraction of an inch. Yeah, I honestly think that the pipe guided the stake around it rather than going straight through it. So just keep that in mind. You obviously don't want to be spearing that pipe or any sprinkle lines or anything else that might be in this area that you're working in. I'm tamping this down for everyone on camera because my wife just asked. Alright, so if you didn't pick that up there, my family of critics was curious what I was doing. So obviously I'm tamping the soil and the sand down here. You want a nice firm base for the slab to sit on. Again, if this was going to be a patio or something like that, I probably would have opted to set these forms a little bit lower in the ground for a little bit deeper of a pour. But again, it's just going to be a slab for water drainage. No one's ever going to see it. Not really an issue here. Yep. Yep. Too dry. Let's see. Do I like concrete? Yeah, let me Bring it over here.
Where?
Over here. Let me say it first. Don't hit the camera. Here. Let me just spread it out and then you can tamp it in for me, okay? We gotta get this just right. Okay, pull the wheelbarrow out. Okay, Adelina. Here. Good. Put it down and wheel it out. Pull it backwards. Yep. Hey Logan, get your shovel. Alright guys, well, not the best job in the world, but not the worst. Actually, got almost close to being done and realized I was going to run out of concrete and I had to run up to Home Depot and get another bag. Not a fun thing to do right now with coronavirus going on. I had to wait online outside for 20 minutes and the only thing that was on my mind was this thing setting up and probably drying on me, but luckily looks like I'm going to be alright here. I could tell it's definitely pitched good to the drain because I could see the top layer of water on the concrete running down to that, so that's really good. I'm not too overly concerned about some of this going down there because I'll just be able to flake it off in there when it dries. You know, hit the sides of the thing with the hammer a little bit to bust it off without breaking the actual drain basin. I think I'm going to be alright though. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. No one's ever going to see this thing. It's going to be underneath the deck, so as long as it's functional, that's all I really care about at this point. I'm just trying to push all the aggregate and the concrete down so you don't have big rocks exposed. I'm just trying to do it somewhat right. Concrete guys will probably laugh at this, but you know, like I said, it'll do the job. No worries. Just trying to get this smooth around here. Tough reaching over this too, but I'm doing the best I can over here. I think it's okay. I set this up, if you didn't pick it up that well earlier, or if I didn't mention it, I set this up so the edge of the form, so when you throw a level across this, the drain is about an inch lower than the perimeter of the concrete form. So as long as I bring this concrete, you know, somewhat close up to the top of the form, all that water is going to roll down to the drain naturally. Get a nice slope down to it. It's looking good. Like I said, you can see the water shedding off the concrete down there anyway, so What?
You said I can also use the drill.
Yeah, when we take the forms apart tomorrow, okay? Alright guys, one last thing you're going to want to do is take your drain grate and put it over the basin. Ah! Damn! Alright guys, one last thing you're going to want to do is take your drain grate and put it onto the basin, and the reason you want to do that is because the concrete right now is trying to mushroom that basin in, and you won't be able to slip this thing into there when everything's dried. So keep this on there. You might get some concrete staining this. It's really not the end of the world. I mean, this thing is $5. If you have to get a new one, you buy a new one. So last thing you want is not to be able to get this thing on when everything is all dry. So let's spin that guy into place. And what I'm going to do is later, after this sets up for a little bit, is I'm going to come here and just twist this thing. And the reason why you want to do that is so it doesn't get concreted into place where you can't lift it off. But even if that happens, you can come here, whack the side of this thing with a hammer when everything's dry, and it should be able to crack loose anything that's caked up on the sides of this where you can lift it off. Yep. Alright guys, and there's the finished concrete work. Setting up. Not too bad, I'm happy with that. Drain looks good. I can still see the water shedding off down into the drain basin, so I think this was pretty successful. I'm happy with it. Alright, I'm going to let that set up. I'm going to go ahead and wash the siding there so I get all that concrete off of it. What do you think, Logan? Did I do a good job?
Yeah.
Alright, what are you going to do in a little bit?
Me?
Yeah, what are you going to do? You going to remember what I told you? What Mommy said you're going to do?
Daddy!
What are you going to do with the concrete in a little bit?
Handprints.
Yeah, you can put your,
What?
yeah, we're going to do some handprints in it. We're going to let it set up a little bit. Alright, come over here.
Elena, I said don't go.
Kneel down, don't touch it yet. Roll up your sleeve. Okay, put your hand out like this. You're going to do your right hand.
Yeah.
Spread them out a little bit. Hey, look, I'm going to push it down. Ready?
Smile, Kona.
Okay, straight up. There's yours.
Oops. Now we have a dirty hand.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Me.
Logan. Okay, ready? Straight down.
Logan, look up and smile.
Straight up. Nice. Hey, Elena.
Don't touch anything yet. How's that?
Mine's a little deeper than
Yours is the same way. Ready? Straight down.
Lena, look up.
Pepsi.
Straight up. All right, cool.
Mine's is the smallest one.
All right, guys. Well, it's a couple days later. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the concrete is set up real nice. Happy with the way this came out. I got a nice pitch down to the drain, and everything's looking really good. I'm actually going to leave the forms in place until I get done working in this area and doing all the framing and the decking, just to protect the edge of this thing. Keep everything in place there, and shouldn't be an issue for now. We'll rip them off when we're all done. So that pretty much wraps up the concrete work here. The next segment of the series is going to be the deck framing, and I'll see you on the next one.